Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Trinadapi Sunichena Taradiva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyata Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Go Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm very happy that everybody except one person has their video on. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very, very good. Okay, let's begin. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, we have reached chapter 9. We're in the last part of the first half of Bhagavad-gita. 18 chapters. So when we finish chapter 9, we'll have finished one half of Bhagavad-gita. Chapter 9 in Sanskrit, Raja Vidya Raja Guya Yoga. Raja Vidya Raja Guya Yoga. The king of knowledge and the king of confidential knowledge. So Prabhupada entitles it the most confidential knowledge. The first 3 verses is what I entitle the most confidential knowledge. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Idang tu te guyatamang pravakshyam yanasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajgyatva mokshase shrubat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence." So this point here, because you are never envious of me, this is very, very, very important. Even in Srimad Bhagavatam, the second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, the line is, Paramo nirmatsaranam satam. The Bhagavatam makes a disqualification. Unless you are free from envy, you will not understand Srimad Bhagavatam. So here Krishna is saying, Arjuna, because you're not envious of me, now you're entitled to confidential knowledge and realization. Now, this next verse is one of the top 10 verses of Bhagavad-gita. Raja Vidya Raja Guyang Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyak Shavagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartam Avyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. I could speak for 1 hour just on this verse. This verse is so powerful. Number 1, it's the king of education. So there's material knowledge and spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge is superior. Why? We already learned in chapter 7 that material energy is inferior and that the spiritual energy is superior. We learned that in chapter 7. So naturally, any kind of material knowledge is going to be inferior to spiritual knowledge. So this Bhagavad-gita is the beginning of spiritual or transcendental knowledge. Therefore, it's the king. Same thing Prahlad said to his father, Hiranyakashipu, when his father asked him, what was the best thing you learned in school? And Prahlad said, well, what I'm learning in your school, that's nonsense. Prahlad said, Tanmanye ditam uttamam, the best knowledge that I learned was from my spiritual master, bhakti, devotional service. And he listed the 9 items, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasev. He listed the 9 items. Prahlad said, in my opinion, this is the topmost knowledge or education. It is the most secret of all secrets. Meaning, although it's available, anyone can get Bhagavad-gita. It's available. That's what ISKCON does. It distributes Bhagavad-gita widely all over the world. But still, remember the previous verse. Because you're not envious of me. So, in order to benefit from Bhagavad-gita and actually extract this secret, you have to be non-envious. So it's available, but actually it's secret, confidential. You have to be qualified. Remember, in chapter 4, what were the 2 reasons why Krishna selected Arjuna as recipient of Bhagavad-gita? I hope you remember that line. We went over it. Arjuna had 2 qualifications why Krishna selected him to receive Gita and not Duryodhana. You remember the line? Bhakto sime sakha cheti. Do you remember that? We went over that in chapter 4, verse number 3. Bhakto sime sakha cheti. Because, is it third verse? Yeah, chapter 4, verse 3. Because you're my devotee and my friend, now you're a recipient of Bhagavad-gita. Same concept. So, if you're Krishna's devotee, and if Krishna is your friend and you're a friend to Krishna, you are entitled to get this secret. It is the purest knowledge because it's spiritual. It's transcendental. There's no material contamination. Now, my favorite line, Pratyakshavagammam. It gives direct perception of the self by realization. This is what I very much like about this process of Krishna consciousness, Bhagavad-gita. Because as you put it into practice, you're going to understand within yourself, oh yeah, this is good. It's not just theoretical. Theoretical knowledge is there, but once you start to put it into practice, now you have some tangible realization. Unless we got realization from chanting, nobody would do chanting every day for 2-3 hours, day after day after day, unless they're getting something from it. I know I wouldn't. I would not be chanting every day unless I was getting some benefit from it. So it's just like you're hungry, and once you start eating, now you're getting nourishment, you're getting satisfaction, you know. And when I come see you next year, hopefully, and I come to your house, Meenakshi, and then you say, Prabhuji, have more. And I'm going to say, no, I cannot. And then Meenakshi's going to say, no, you must have more. Because she doesn't know how full I am. And all the families do that. I'm used to that. Same way at Srilesh's house. Bengali prasad. So, you know in yourself, I'm full. Nobody else knows. You know yourself. So the same way, by practicing Bhagavad-gita, you'll know within yourself, yes, this is the real thing. This is actually the best thing for me, because I'm experiencing within. That's what makes this Bhagavad-gita, Krishna consciousness, so wonderful. You try it, and you see how you feel. You see how you are changing, how you're improving. It is the perfection of religion. Yes, this is an important question. What is the perfection? What is the goal of religion? According to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the perfection of religion, love of God. That's the perfection of religion. Materialistic religion, which is very popular, whether it be Christian, Jew, Muslim, Hindu, any kind of materialistic religion, what will they tell you? The purpose of their religion is that you become materially affluent. That's materialistic religion. And all the religions have that. But Krishna consciousness is different, because we are not promoting that. In fact, again, going back to the second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, that not only must you be free from envy, but all kinds of materialistic or cheating religion is rejected right from the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Rejects it. Kaitavotra. Rejects any kind of dharma projita. Kaitavotra. That's the line. Any kind of materialistic conception of religion, Bhagavatam kicks out from the beginning. No. This is for people who are free from envy and who want to develop love of God. So that is the perfection of religion, not material aggrandizement. That's like here in America, Trump, he has some spiritual religious advisor, some lady, and her direct preaching, her whole philosophy is, if you are a good Christian, the proof that you're a good Christian is that you're wealthy. The exact thing Srimad Bhagavatam says is kicked out, that's what she preaches. Yes, you follow this Christian or whatever religion, and you'll become materially affluent. Oh, who wouldn't want that? Yes. But that's not what Bhagavad-gita or Krishna consciousness is teaching. No. We don't want some insignificant thing. We want love of God. It is everlasting, avyayam. Yes, whatever percentage of Krishna consciousness you execute is a permanent asset. You never lose it. Unlike the stock market, you can lose your investment. But any investment in Krishna consciousness, you never lose. And susukam kartum. Now, you all know what the word suk means, right? Pleasure, happiness. But this is susuk. Too much pleasure. It's the topmost pleasure. So it is easily performed. And for instance, easily performed. How difficult it is to chant. Even a child can do it. Yoga asana is different. I can't do yoga asanas, but I can do japamala and kirtan and pravarchan. So it's joyfully performed. You do your food for life. That's also susukam kartum. How difficult it is for people to take prasad. All they have to do is have a mouth. Anyone, and that's an item of devotional service. I call it the 10th item. Shravanam Kirtanam Prasadanam. Prahlad Maharaj says there's 9. I added a 10th item. Shravanam Kirtanam Prasadanam. Yes, it's an item, it's one of Lord Chaitanya's main things. chanting, dancing, feasting, as I've said thousands of times over the past 45 years. No prasadam, I'm not joining this movement. I joined this movement because of prasadam. If they all of a sudden said, oh, no more prasadam, I'm gone, sorry. Has to be prasad. Yes. Because that's an item. Lord Chaitanya's pillar. Chanting, dancing, and feasting. So every aspect of Krishna consciousness is joyful. Just like doing this program. I do it because it's joyful. I enjoy it. I have as much fun doing this as I do my music here in my studio. I have so much fun doing these programs. All right, verse 3. Ashraddha dhana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapyamang nivartante mrityu sangsara vartmani. But those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies, and therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. Mrityu sangsara vartmani. Vartmani means path. The path of mrityu sangsara, death, repeated birth. That's material existence. You live, you die, you live, you die. Endless cycle, 8,400,000. In Bengali, the line is, Hey Rupe Brahmanda Brahmate Kono Bhagyavan Jeev. It's like being on the Ferris wheel. You start off at the bottom, and then eventually you're at the top, but then again you come down. So that is samsara. Sometimes you're a insect, then you become human being, you become a demigod, but then again you become human being, constantly rotating in the cycle of 8,400,000 types of bodies. Mrityu sangsara, birth and death. But if you practice Krishna consciousness, Bhagavad-gita, you get out. You end, you break the cycle. You not only are you not on Mrityu Sangsara Vartmani, you're on the path of Apavarga Vartmani. That's a different word. Apavarga. Pavarga is this Mrityu Sangsara. But Apavarga means the path of liberation. That's the path of Bhagavad-gita, Krishna consciousness. The path of liberation. You stick with Bhagavad-gita and you stay on that path of full eternal liberation. All right, the next series of verses 4 through 10, is entitled Simultaneously One and Different. This was the specific technical philosophy that was taught by Lord Chaitanya. In Sanskrit, Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva, that everything in existence can be seen to be simultaneously one and different from Krishna. Just like ourselves. The spirit soul is spirit. Krishna is spirit. In that sense, we are one with God. God is spirit, the soul is spirit, we're one. But the difference is that even though we're one in quality, in potency, big difference. Krishna is Vibhu, the all-powerful. We are Anu, atomic, little. Yes, we can say that we are expansions of God. But what kind of expansion? Mucho poco pequeña. Little expansion of God. Not the big God. Not the God that can lift Govardhan Hill. Not the God as you see in the picture behind me, dancing rasa dance. No, we're not that kind of God. We are little, actually infinitesimal. Krishna is the big blazing fire. We are the sparks emanating. Krishna is like the sun, and we are like the sun rays. The sun ray is dependent on the existence of the sun. Krishna Surya Sama, another Bengali line. Krishna is like the sun, and the living entity is like a sun ray. Our existence is not independent. Krishna can live independent. As first verse of Bhagavatam says, Svarat, definition of Krishna, Svarat, completely independent. Proven the night of the Rasa dance. He left the gopis, he even left Radharani. Krishna demonstrated the night of the Rasa dance. I'm independent even of Radharani. She got a little proud. Why? She told Krishna, oh, I cannot walk anymore. You'll have to carry me. So Krishna said, okay, get on my shoulder. And as soon as she attempted to get on Krishna's shoulder, Krishna disappeared, proving his detachment by Ragya, proving he's independent. Krishna is Svarat, completely, absolutely independent. We, on the other hand, are dependent. Without Krishna, we do not exist. The sun ray does not exist without the sun. So achintya, inconceivable. Things are one and different. So let's go through these series of verses. They're a little technical. I'll try my best to explain. Maya tatamidang sarvam jagad avyakta murtina masthani sarvabhutani nachahang teshvavashtata. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So what is the context here? So, you've heard me say many times in this class that there are three features to the absolute truth: Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. So that first understanding of the absolute truth, Brahman, the all-pervasive spiritual energy. Everything rests on Brahman. So, the entire universe is existing. Why? Because it comes from Krishna's energy. Now, when Krishna says, I am not in them, you would think, oh, wait a second. You told us that Krishna is in the heart of every living being as Paramatma. But here Krishna is saying, I'm not in them. So what's the understanding? How to reconcile? Yes, Krishna is in the heart of every living being as Paramatma. According to Brahma Samhita, he's even within the atom. But that's his form as Paramatma. But the original Krishna, two-handed, playing the flute, dancing in the rasa dance, that Krishna, he's existing in the spiritual transcendental world. He only visits this material world once in a day of Brahma. And he just appeared 5,000 years ago. So although everything is resting on Krishna's energy, and all beings are within Krishna's energy, the original Krishna, Adi Purusha, he is living separately, independently in his abode. Right now, Krishna is dancing with the gopis in the spiritual world, while all this material world is going on. Next verse. Nacha matstani bhutani pashame yogam aishvaram bhuta brinnacha bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavana. And yet everything that exists, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Again, because Krishna is living separately in his spiritual world, whatever is going on here in the material world is separate from him. we learned a few classes ago how the material, eightfold material energies are his separated energies. So in the same way, everything going on in the material world is separate, independent of the original Krishna in the spiritual world. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, so that is Vishnu. Vishnu is the maintainer. Brahma is the engineer. Shiva is the destroyer. But Vishnu is the maintainer. Another name for maintainer, Janardana. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere in two features, how is he everywhere? Again, everything is Krishna's energy, and Krishna is within everyone's heart and every atom in his Paramatma feature. So he's everywhere. That's another meaning of the word Vasudeva. The words Vishnu and Vasudeva mean the same thing, that God is everywhere. We learned in chapter 7, Vasudevam Sarvam Iti. We learned that in verse 19, that Vasudeva is everywhere, either by his energy or by the Paramatma feature. Again, at the same time, the original Krishna is living separately in his abode. I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. Yes, he lives separately. For myself is the very source of creation. Brahma's engineering the construction of the universe is after Mahavishnu generates the original 16 principles of creation. This you will learn in Srimad Bhagavatam. If we get to Bhagavatam, at some point we'll learn that. That before Brahma can create, Vishnu, Mahavishnu has to give him the 16 items. Just like anyone who does cooking. First you need the ingredients. You need rice, dal, butter, vegetables. Then you can make a nice dish. Shailesh was telling me a while ago that you get all these ingredients. You get it from the government, the stuff for your food for life. No, you don't get it from the government. Anyway, but you were telling me you have to get it from someplace, right? Can't do food for life unless you have the raw ingredients. So in the same way, Brahma cannot create independently. He can create only when he's given the 16 items of the 16 ingredients of creation, which comes from God. Next verse. Yata kasho stito nityang vayu sarvatra go mahan tata sarvani bhutani matstani pidaraya. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. So this is an analogy given by Krishna. The sky all pervading, and the wind is blowing underneath that sky. So you can say the mighty wind is always in the sky. So in the same way, all created beings rest on Krishna. Again, the example of the sun and the sun ray. The sun ray cannot exist separately or independent from the sun. In the same way, all created beings, we are part and parcel of Krishna. We cannot live independently or separately. We rest in Krishna. We are his energy. Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakriti nyanti mamikam kalpakshaye panastani kalpadao visrijam yaham. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, And at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. So when there is a complete annihilation of the cosmic manifestation, everything enters into the body of Mahavishnu. All the souls who were not fit to go back to Godhead, they have to go somewhere when the material creation is dissolved. Because the material creation is like the changing of the seasons. Winter, spring, summer, fall. And then it rotates one after the other. So there's creation, there's maintenance, destruction. Creation, maintenance, going on and on and on and on. So when there is a destruction, where does all the energy go? Where do all the conditioned souls go? Into the body of Mahavishnu. And then when Mahavishnu exhales, everything comes out of his body. So that's the whole process. It goes into his body, it comes out. It's all by Mahavishnu's potency. Prakriting swam avashtabhya visrijami punak punak bhutagramam imang kritsnam avashang prakriter vashat. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will, it is annihilated at the end. Here is yet another verse where Krishna is establishing his supremacy. There are so many verses in Bhagavad-gita that establish that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is the supreme source. So many verses in Bhagavad-gita. So here's another one. Everything is under Krishna's control. And nothing moves, nothing happens without Krishna's will sanctioning it. There's a verse in both the Upanishads and other places. Not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. He has everything under control. Nachamang tani karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. This is another important concept about God. Yes, He creates the material world. Yes, everything is under His control, and at the same time, He's neutral. We cannot blame our situation in life on Krishna. This was already mentioned in chapter 5. Yes, Krishna sets up the chessboard. Krishna sets up the matrix. Or like a video game. Life is like a video game. You young kids know what I'm talking about. But the choices you make in the video game, or the choices we make in our day-to-day lives, that's on us. Krishna has nothing to do with that. He's independent. We are the ones creating our own destiny. So you cannot blame Krishna. One time, about 10 years ago, I did a program. And this Indian man at the end said, I was talking to him. So I was saying to him, so when are you going to surrender to Krishna? And what was his response? Oh, when Krishna tells me. And I said, no, it doesn't work like that, my friend. No, you have your own. That's a lazy way out. Yes, Prabhu, I will do when. That's called lazy. No, Krishna does not do that. No, you have your own initiative. You have your own minute free will. And at every moment, we're making a choice. Do I want to go to Krishna, or do I want to do my own thing? That's all that life is. A simple, moment-to-moment decision. Should I serve Krishna now, or should I serve my senses? That's life. Hopefully, by reading Bhagavad-gita and attending these classes, you come to the decision, I want to proactively engage and serve Krishna more and more and more. That is what we are saying when we chant Hare Krishna mantra. As Prabhupada explains, O energy of God, Hara or Radha, O God, Krishna, Rama, please engage me in your service. That is the purport of the Hare Krishna mantra. Now it's funny. Sometimes this happens. We're chanting, and then when it comes time for service, we say, no, I don't want to do the service. But we've been praying for service all the time. That's what we're doing when we chant Hare Krishna. It's like, say you apply for a job. All right, you apply for the job. You have to write your resume. You have to go for the interview. All right, you get the job. Now the boss tells you, do this, do this, do this. No, I don't want to do that. Then why did you apply for the job? For the same reason. We are chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. We are asking for employment in Krishna's service. That's what we're doing. That's why some people don't chant, because they know that. Oh, no. I'm not going to chant, because then Krishna is going to engage me in his service. I've seen it. I've seen it so many times. People are in the temple in front of the altar, and the devotees are chanting, and their lips are like this. The lips don't move. Why? Because they're afraid. Oh, if I chant, then Krishna is going to engage me in his service. No. That's the whole purpose of chanting. Please engage me in your service. Same way, husband and wife. They make the marriage vows. I will serve you. And yes, they each say, I will love, cherish, and serve you. But as the years go by, that attitude changes. Why don't you serve me? Right? You all know this. We all go through it. We don't want to serve. We want to be served. Yes, we think we're Krishna, dancing Rasa Leela. Serve me. Serve me. No, that's not going to be a good marriage. Good marriage is I serve you and you serve me. That's happy marriage. All right. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad vipari vartate. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. Woo. What a powerful verse. Yes. Durga is working under Krishna's direction. Yes. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. That's why Durga Mata sees herself as maidservant of Krishna. O son of Kunti, it produces all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So in the material world, this is called Devi Dham. This is according to Brahma Samhita. We are living in Devi Dham. But this Devi Dham is under the control of Krishna. As I just said, she is Krishna's maidservant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So now I will do the Dhammadarastika. Since it's the month of Kartik, this prayer is very auspicious. I hope you're chanting this prayer twice daily or hearing it twice daily. Myself, I made a recording of it, so I have it on my phone, and at least twice daily I am hearing. But when I get a chance to sing it, that's better. Namam Ishwarang Sachit Ananda Rupam Lasat Kundalango Kule Brajamanam Yashoda Biyo Lukalat Navamanam Paramrishtam Atyantato Drutya Gopya Rudandang Mohur Netra Yugmam Rejantang Karamboja Yugmena Satanka Netram Muhu Shwasa Kampa Tirekanka Kanta Stita Grivam Damodarang Bhakti Badham Iti Drikswalila Bir Ananda Kunde Swagoshang Imajantam Akyapayantam Tadi Eshitad Yeshu Bhaktair Chitatvang Punak Prematastang Shatavriti Vande Varang Deva Mokshamna Mokshavadhingva Nachanyang Vrinehang Vareshada Piha Idang Deva Purnata Gopala Balang Sadame Manas Yavi Rastam Kimanyai Idang De Mukam Mojam Adyanta Nilaya Pritang Kuntalai Snigda Raktaisha Gopya Muhushchumbitam Bimba Raktadarang Me Manasya Virastam Alam Laksha Labhai Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodhuka Jalabdi Magnam Kripa Dristi Vrishyati Dinam Batanu Griyane Shamam Agyam Edyakshi Drishyaha Uveratma Jo Badha Murtyai Vayadvat Tvayamochitao Bhakti Tajao Kritao Cha Tota Prema Bhaktin Swakang Me Prayachya Namokshe Grahomesti Damodareha Namaste Sudamne Spuradipti Damne Tvadiyodarayata Vishvasya Damne Namo Radhikayai Tvadiya Priyayai Namo Nanta Vilaya Devaya Tubhyam Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Radha Damodar Radha Damodar 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 Radhe Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.